the button in?
Yeah, it's in. Okay, it's February 14th, and it's 10:45. Oh, wait a minute. That's Denver time. It's 9:45 in the morning, and we're gonna start.
A little ahead of time. It's 9:30.
No, okay, 9:38.
9:40 or something like that.
Okay, well, we're going to be doing an oral history with the help of Casey here. So I guess what we should start out with when you were born.
Well, I was born January 1st, 1916 in McAllister, Oklahoma. I don't remember much of it.
You don't remember much of McAllister?
Very little, no. Only what Mother told me over the years.
Uh-huh. And so, what are your earliest memories?
The earliest memories, I think, are probably Duncan, Oklahoma, where Mother had a dining room. She was always having dining rooms where she served meals to people, and my grandmother usually was the cook, and I guess I was about 4 years old at that time. I really don't remember much of it, except that that's where we met Sybil and Harry. Oh darn, what was their names?
It wasn't Showman, was it?
No, that was here. Sybil and Harry. Anyway, they had a theater there. They had a movie theater, and Mother got to know them some way, and they got very friendly with us. And I remember that we had a Studebaker touring car. That's one with a soft top, no windows. And
was that considered
the biggest thing for us was Saturday night take a drive down the main street and around the town and go home.
How big was Duncan?
Duncan's, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 people. But it was a little town. And or we'd go to the show, and Harry and Sybil would take us up in the projection room, and we'd watch the movie once in a while from there. Kay and I were just well, she was 2 years younger than me, so she was only, I guess I was 6 and she was 4.
Did you go to school in Duncan?
No. No, I don't remember school until we moved to Shawnee, Oklahoma. Let's see, wait a minute. Well, I can't really give you the chronological order, but we lived in Tulsa, and we lived on the corner of a block. And
is that the place we went to when we went on vacation?
Yeah, and the rest of the block was taken up by the Catholic school and church.
Okay.
And we were right next to the school.
Okay.
So we went to school there. And I forget just, what year it was or what age we were.
Well, that's all right. I'm sure these details
these details are not really.
Yeah.
But then we moved to Shawnee, which was a little town, and we went to school there, Jefferson School. I remember it was a little square brick schoolhouse, and the lower floor was half submerged in the ground. In other words, you had to walk down into the first floor or up into the second floor.
Oh.
And
so you went from a big city, Tulsa, down to Shawnee?
Yeah. And the big thing there, of course, was every Saturday morning we went to the movies, 10 cents, and saw the serials and the westerns and all that sort of thing.
So this was in the early 20s?
This was in the early 20s, yeah. Because in 1920, well, gosh, we moved all over that town. We moved to
Why did your mom want to keep moving?
Well, economics mostly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because one thing wouldn't work and she'd get another. She went to work for the Rock Island Railroad, and we moved to El Reno then, which was one of the hubs of the railroad.
So I take it you never were. Was it the times that were bleak economically, or was it just you?
No, it
you
was
were kind
just
of
the fact that she was a woman with 2 children and a mother that she had to support, and she just never, you know, she didn't have the opportunities that people have now.
Mm-hmm.
But she always had work. She always worked somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and she had these little boarding houses. Push the button.
Okay, she was always having boarding houses.
Yeah, she you know, she was always able to take care of us. That was the main thing. And
but you didn't have exactly a opulent lifestyle.
No, we went to school, and we went. You know, we had clothes and we had food, and that was about it. We had a few amenities that you might call, well, we didn't have any luxuries, that's for sure, but we always had enough to live on.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, we lived in, well, let's see, one thing, she went to a little place up in northern Oklahoma called Three Sands, which was a oil boom town. In other words, they struck oil up there, and then this town just kind of sprung up.
Yeah.
And she opened a restaurant, and we had. She was feeding these oil people, you know, oil field workers and that sort of thing. And so that was another. Then
how old was she at the time? If you can you figure that out?
Well, she was probably, gosh, I don't know, 83. She was 83, and well, I can't think.
Yeah.
She was probably in her 30s, late 30s.
Oh,
And
and was your was your father always out of the picture?
he left. He went out of the picture in Duncan. In fact, that was one of the last things I remember about him was him leaving with his suitcase, and that was the end of him.
Didn't you go to visit him one time?
I went to Little Rock, Arkansas to visit him, and I spent 2 weeks with him one time, and that was the only time I saw him again. You know, that was.
Did
I was, let's see, I guess we were living in Shawnee then.
Mm-hmm.
And I was about, I don't know, 9 years old, 10 years old, something like that.
Was it Maggie's idea not to have contact with him?
Yeah. Oh, she was mad. She was always mad at him.
Uh-huh.
She never did forgive him for leaving her. But, you know, it was just one of those things.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he had any, what his motive was.
Yeah.
But anyway, we lived all over the state. We lived in, then we went to Tonkawa, and in Tonkawa, she sent me to a military school in Missouri, and I spent about, I don't know, 8 months in that military school.
Is that right?
And
how old were you then?
I was probably 8. 8 o'clock.
I remember one time when I was younger suggesting that I go to military school because I was really enthusiastic about the military, and you flat out told me that was the worst thing you could ever do to a child.
Well,
something that shocked me at the time. I had no idea that you'd gone there, and I remember thinking, well, it sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know what the...
Well, it was one of those things where I'm not sure why she sent me there. I wasn't a disrupting influence. I wasn't anything. I guess she just thought I should have more men's input, you know. But
well,
unfortunately,
for the record, I'm glad you didn't send me to the.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I probably would have felt the same way about it.
Yeah, right. They, I lasted about 9 months, and I got pneumonia.
You did?
And they put me in the hospital, and I had I spent 2 weeks in the hospital And after that, why, then she took me home, and
Was pneumonia real serious
that
then?
was a real serious thing then, yeah, because
I mean,
they didn't know whether they were going to have to drain my lungs or anything before, before a crisis. I passed the crisis, in other words. I got over it naturally, or with medicine,
Yeah.
rather than having to do any surgery. And anyway, then we came back to Tonkawa, and I'm not sure. Well, then we went to Oklahoma City. That was it. We lived in Oklahoma City for about a year. And
well, you never got to like establish yourself in schools or friendships or anything like that.
no, we moved around quite a bit, and every time we moved, of course, we had a new school, new place to live. And so it was one of those things where she was just having to move for economic reasons.
And your grandmother was with her.
My grandmother was with us all the time. She's the one that cared for us. And she was just one of the greatest little ladies you ever saw.
Did she have was she as ornery as Maggie could be?
No, she was a kind of a docile type. And
did she now? Where did she come over from Ireland, or did she?
No. She was born in I think she was born in Philadelphia. Her maiden name was Kelly. And she married this George Weldon, who was my grandfather.
Oh, that's where you get your middle name from.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
did you remember your grandfather at all?
I never saw him.
Yeah.
No, he died before I was around. They moved to, or they lived in Moberly, Missouri, and that's where Mother was born. Casey,
could you please let us do this, please?
Well, we'll be editing this. I
yeah,
can
right.
see that.
Anyway, as she was born in Moberly, Missouri, and I don't know how. I never did know how she got to McAllister, Oklahoma, but.
And now your mother was born in Missouri.
In Missouri, yeah, Moberly. It's a little town.
Oh.
And I have no idea. I have, in fact, in researching our archives for our genealogical thing, I found a census record of them in Moberly, Missouri.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, she had a brother named Bert. And she and her George Weldon and Catherine Weldon, which was my grandmother, and George or Bert and Margaret. So I found those. So they were in Moberly at one time. I have the record in our book back there.
So now you're in Oklahoma City, and how old are you now?
Probably 10. And we went to school in Oklahoma City for about a year. I'm not sure when we decided to go to Houston. She decided she wanted to go to Houston because things were bad in Oklahoma City. That is, economically, she couldn't find what she wanted. And so she decided to go down to Houston and see if there was anything down there she could work. Well, that's where my father's family all lived. And in fact, they're still there. Lots of them, or what are left of them. And but when we were there, we never contacted any of them for some reason or other. She just wasn't enthused about,
renewing
any ties. And so, but things didn't work out down there. There was nothing there for her. So we started back to Oklahoma City, and we got to Dallas, and somewhere or other, she saw this ad for somebody wanted a car taken to California, and I still don't know why she ever did it, but she grabbed it, and we piled. Oh, in the meantime, I'm trying to think where Kay, my sister, in the meantime, had gone up to Minnesota to visit Harry and Sybil. Damn, I wish I could think of their last name.
Well, we can get that
Yeah,
later.
we get
Now,
that.
was it Minnesota or South Dakota?
I mean, I'm sorry, South Dakota. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they had gone up there. They sold their theater and went up there and bought a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And so they asked Kay, or asked Margaret, mother, if Kay could come up and visit them. And so we sent her off on a train from Texas, from Houston. Well, then we started our trek back to Oklahoma City, and on the way at Dallas, we picked up this car, and the stipulation was that we could go to Oklahoma City and pick up whatever we had left there.
Yeah.
And we started west, going west for California.
Was that a big, exciting
It
adventure
was
for you?
it was quite a.
Or was this just another one of your mom's moves that you...
Well, it was quite a move,
Yeah.
because we had no idea what we were going to do out here. She didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. Of course, I didn't know too much about it anyway. I was still only about 10 years old.
Now, what year was this? 27?
1928.
28?
Mm-hmm. We arrived in Los Angeles in June of 1928.
How long did it take you to drive out?
Took us almost 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were the,
Because she did all the driving, see,
Oh,
and so we'd have to stop every night and
were the roads decent or anything?
well, the roads weren't that bad, but they were just 2-lane highways.
Yeah.
It was Highway 66,
Uh-huh.
and it was not the greatest. Well, not 66, because we went down through El Paso,
Oh.
and we went from Oklahoma City down to, well, down through Amarillo and that way, and then
Uh-huh.
through El Paso, and we got to Los Angeles, as I say, and this was all before, of course, before the Dust Bowl in 1930.
Oh, so you were
that
just
was in 30. We were ahead of it.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, of course, they were sending out policemen from Los Angeles to stop people at the border.
Is that right? Okay, now during the did you just say like during the Dust Bowl, then they had policemen stopping them?
L.A. policemen
that
there
right?
at the